fucking way. Fucking A.
That is right. I officially own the NFL, and I think it's time for some changes.
Breaking news today out of the NFL. Let's go live to the press conference.
Today marks an historic first. The NFL is now under the ownership of one individual, Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, that is right. I officially own the NFL, and I think it's time for some changes. So, for my very first change, we are going to be changing the rosters from 53 players to 54 and giving that new roster spot to a YouTuber.
No, Jimmy, we can't.
Well, I already did. Jimmy, we got the Cowboys!
There's only one spot.
All right, boys. First one to pop the balloon makes it on the team. In 3, 2, 1.
Well, I think they all got Dak Prescott beat.
These are the best athletes on earth, Jimmy. This could get sketchy.
Yeah, no, we already signed Sketch. We're good.
Let's go Texans! Come on, baby! It's our year! Let's go!
Jimmy, we didn't talk about this.
Oh, I really need to answer this, but just signed Dude Perfect to the Cowboys. How's it going? I own the NFL now. What do you need?
Jimmy, get on the Vikings. Skol Vikings, let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name.
All right, yeah, you got the Vikings. Talk to you later. Put her on.
Yo, Jimmy, hey, I got a rep for my hometown. Put me down for the Rams.
Rams, huh? Bold choice. Put him down.
Let's go! Hey, Mom, he said yes.
What do you got, Jimmy?
Jimmy, I got the Chiefs. Please, come on.
Let's do it. You're in.
Yo, Jimmy, I got the Jets.
I got the Broncos.
Let's go.
In a shocking new development, YouTubers are now reporting to training camps.
We know this isn't just a game.
Come on now! You know that guy should have caught that ball.
Sure, it will be hard. But I know these YouTubers have what it takes. We have speed.
Bro, I need to see this race. Speed and Tyreek Hill, bro. This is probably the most teased fucking race ever. I need to make it serious.
Let's go.
We have power.
I've always played football. Not bad.
We have style. Kinda.
You look good.
Look good, feel good, play good. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, man.
Jimmy, you know, first I wasn't sold, but this idea is something I might be able to subscribe to.
Subscribe. Exactly. Ooh, all right. Well, for the first time ever, Chargers versus Chiefs will be live for free on YouTube. Make sure you watch it. It's literally free. Why not? September 5th.
Good Night Football free on YouTube. That's crazy. That is literally psycho.
If you're in the country legally, you need to go home.
But what's your message to Pope Leo?
I wish he'd make a border trip with me. I wish the Pope would spend more time fixing Catholic Church, which has got a lot of problems. Wear my shoes for 40 years and tell me we shouldn't have border
Who the fuck made Tom Muhammad?
security. I've seen some things on the border that I still, have nightmares about. I had over 1,000 protesters at my one home. And I don't live with my wife right now because of threats. Because the last 4 years under Joe Biden, every day I woke up and I got pissed off. Because I wondered how many women got raped last night.
Why is it impermissible for ICE to not wear masks? They're fighting dangerous, well-funded.
The funny thing, not the funny thing, but the worst part about that is like he doesn't understand statistics that there's 1 in 4 women, or 1 in 5, or 1 in 4 women are getting sexually assaulted on a daily basis. I'm not going to be able to, I can read the statistics and break down hourly or secondary, but the fact that he only goes to sleep thinking about how many women are attacked by illegal or undocumented immigrants is fucking telling me. That's scary.
Narco state terrorists.
Bullshit. Just bullshit. You just compared
United States soldiers fighting ISIS with these officers on the street in Chicago. Give me a fucking break.
Border czar Tom Homan was the man charged by President Trump with the task of sealing the US border and delivering on his campaign pledge of mass deportations. To many Republicans, he's a rock star of the administration, a straight-talking, no-nonsense bulldozer who always gets results. To his critics, he's the public face of an immigration policy that's been variously condemned as cruel, unconstitutional, even un-American. Democrats continue to protest the Trump White House on the streets and in the courts. Tom Homan says he has no plans to slow down. And he joins me now. Tom Homan, welcome to Uncensored.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I feel like I know you without ever actually knowing you. So it's good to finally be able to talk to you. I want to start with a very simple question. How many people do you think currently in the United States of America, population circa 340 million or so, how many do you think are in the country illegally?
Over 20 million. And I say that because we've used the number 12 million for the last decade and a half. And we know that at least 10 million, 10.5 million came to the border under President Biden, and the majority of them released in the country. Plus, we know we got over 2 million known gotaways during that 4 years. So, my opinion, I've been doing this since 1984. There's over 20 million illegal aliens in this country.
And is your aspiration, if you could do this, to deport all of them?
If you're in the country legally, you need to go home. And I'm hoping not to deport everybody. I'm hoping people are going to do the right thing and self-remove. I know according to recent studies by several nonprofits, between 1.4 and 1.6 already left. And I hope more do leave and do the right thing, because if we have to go seek you out, get an order of deportation and seek you out and formally deport you, there's a statutory bar anywhere from 5 years to never coming back to the United States under another legal program. So get your affairs together, leave on your own, and make other options available to you in the future. For instance, if you have a U.S. citizen child, they can petition for you someday when they turn 18. But look, there are millions of people standing in line, taking their tests, doing the background investigation, paying their fees, that want to be a part of the greatest nation on earth. And the millions of people that President Biden released in the country.
Nothing Tom Homan and ICE is doing is representing or representative or whatever the fuck as the greatest nation on earth. If anything, the ICE, Tom Homan, and individuals like himself are making the fucking United States of America look like a war-torn country. Mass people, no identification, like fucking kidnapping people off the streets for political opinions. This is no, absolutely fucking.
Are cheating the system. They're cheating the millions who are trying to play by the rules.
I mean, look, I know I am described as an exceptional alien, my immigration status to the United States, which always struck me as a little rude, if you don't mind me saying, Mr. Homan. I think exceptional's fine, but calling me an alien always seemed a little terse. But I go through a big, rigorous...
Look at his face. Piers Morgan's not going to be able to bring Tom Homan is fucking alien from Men in Black. Brown's never going to turn upside down, literally.
Process.
I think it's stuck there.
To get a visa. I've got a home in LA. I've worked in America on and off for 20 years. But it's a rigorous process to go through all the form filling, as you know. So I understand why people who go through that process to become citizens and so on, they feel aggrieved that people who just march in over a border, and we have the same issue in the UK, as you know, with the small boats and so on. But here's my sort of overview, and let me just express what I think, and then give me your reaction to it. From most Americans I've talked to, whether it be East Coast or Middle America, whatever, there's almost unanimous sense of a huge victory by you and your team on the southern border, that you've managed to virtually close that border in a dramatically short period of time. And that if anything, you're not getting enough credit for that because of all the noise around some of the other initiatives. I think you deserve huge credit for that. I'm very happy to give you that. Most Americans I've spoken to say if somebody's in the country illegally, in other words, they're an undocumented person in the US, and they commit a crime, then they should be deported. In other words, there seems to be almost unanimous agreement. Where there is a disagreement with your strategy, and this seems to be supported by the polling I've seen around 2/3 agree with what I'm about to say here, or certainly the way I'm heading in my thought process. Where they feel uncomfortable is with, for argument's sake, somebody who came in as an undocumented person 10 years ago. They built a life in the United States. They've got a job. They're working at Home Depot. They've got a couple of kids who've been born in America. They pay taxes. They contribute to society. They don't commit crimes. They're decent people who came for a better life. They just happen to be undocumented. When they see ICE employees running into Home Depot to see somebody like that or the equivalent, that is where a line seems to be crossed for many Americans. Do you understand why people feel differently about that scenario to somebody who's there illegally who then commits a crime that's unconnected to their immigration status?
Well, look, I can tell you, I started with Border Patrol in 1984, and I can tell you, and it's still this way today. Immigration enforcement has always been controversial. It's always been emotional. I get it, right? But people need to understand what the people who feel that way, many of them don't know the facts. Many of them don't have the data because the media is skewing the data every day. Every day I get up on the way to work, I look at 20 pages of data from the previous 24 hours. And the media they want to spin away from the truth. For instance,
literally, he doesn't give a fuck. Literally, what Piers Morgan says he doesn't give a fuck. This is a soulless go. Ladies and gentlemen, like, this is exactly why people feel the way they feel about ICE. Basically, is America's terrorist organization. You can call ICE America's Hamas in a sense. You can, because they're running around here terrorizing people and communities. If you look as if you're undocumented, you're going to be probably interrogated by ICE officials. Hell, you probably aren't even talking to real ICE officials because there's reports of people pretending to be ICE officials because ICE has no real identification, as ICE walks around looking like Call of Duty players. Anybody can look like that. They've been kidnapping them. They've been assaulting them, posing as ICE agents because ICE doesn't have to show anything. That's the biggest problem. This guy can care less. I wonder if Piers is going to bring that up.
They say that most of the people ICE arresting are not criminals. False. I look at the numbers this morning. 70% of everybody ICE arrests is a criminal. Who are the other 30%? Many of them are national security threats with terrorist ties. Most of them don't have criminal histories because their whole goal is to lay low until they do the dirty deed, right? So we've arrested thousands of Tren de Agua, thousands of MS-13.
I think what he's missing the point is like I think he's arresting people when he adds that bullet to it. There's a lot of context missing to that. Like, were you arresting somebody that committed a crime 30 years ago? Or are you arresting somebody that committed a crime 20 years ago? And it's a non-violent crime. Probably got arrested for weed. Who knows? Before weed was actually legal in many places it is now. We don't know that. Because there's no due process when they get arrested. It's over. It's like, okay, you picked up by ICE. Next thing you know, you're in either Alligator, Alcatraz, or some weirdo place in fucking Louisiana before they send you to that death trap in El Salvador.
Thousands of national security threats that simply don't have criminal histories. Who are the other remaining 30%? Many of them are fugitives. These are people who had due process at great taxpayer expense. We put them in front of the judge. They lost their case. They were ordered to leave. But they didn't leave. They became a fugitive. So a lot of them are the 30%. So
and in that case, I think, okay, well, if that's the case, then yeah, you are running from the actual process you should be following. Okay, if you get caught and deported, I'm not going to say that that's on you. If it's an actual court of the judge that says, hey, you can't be here, that's completely different from already being here, and being harassed by ICE.
If the media would educate the American people on the facts, that President Trump promised to prioritize public safety threats as national security threats, and the data proves that's exactly what we're doing. Now, let's look at the non-criminal, non-national security threats, non-fugitives. The message we can't not send the entire world is you can cross the border legally. It's a crime. Don't worry about it. Go see an immigration judge, or don't go see an immigration judge and just skip out, get an order removal. Don't worry about it. No one's looking for you.
That's the fucking problem. That's never anybody's issue. That's not the problem. Nobody, if you're here illegally and you commit a crime, you should be deported. I think everybody agrees with that. I feel like what he's about to do, what he's about to say, he's about to misinterpret how everybody feels about individuals who've been here for a very, very long time, have not committed crimes, have paid taxes without reaping any benefits of doing so. And I feel like he's about to placate it as if we don't understand. we don't get it. No, we understand it completely. We see the fucking pictures. We've seen the videos. We've seen ICE fucking scared the shit out of people going through the processes. Like I saw a video, they were snatching people who leave the fucking courts after their fucking hearing.
As long as you don't commit another crime beyond illegal entry, you're good to go. If that's the message we send to the whole world, you're never going
literally no one's
to fix this problem.
But what about a different message? Okay, well, let me tweak your message, which is I don't disagree that as a deterrent, that message is effective. However, going back to my example, it's a generic example. I'm not thinking of a specific person, but you must accept there will be people in that 30% who are of the category that I described, who've been in the country a number of years, who've had children whilst they've been in America, who are good citizens, have tried to build a better life for their families. It's that category of person that people are uneasy about. Do you accept that there are a number of people in that 30% who fit that kind of bill? And do you feel uncomfortable about those people being thrown out of the country or not?
No. They're in the country illegally, and that's not okay. They entered the country illegally, which is a crime. And if we send the message to the whole world, enter the country illegally, it's a crime, and don't worry about it. Just don't commit another crime, and you're good to go. Then you're never going to solve the illegal immigration crisis. And here's what people need to understand. Illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. I've done this for 40 years. The criminal cartels rape women that make that journey. They sexually abuse children that make that journey. I found more dead children, talked to more women. I talked to girls as young as 9 that were raped multiple times by the member of the cartel. When you get on your knees, you look, and I have a 9-year-old who was raped by a member of the cartel simply as demand before they pass over the border. It turns your stomach. It changes who you are. And the message we cannot send is, as long as you don't commit a crime, come on in, because more people die, more women get raped. And what happened in the last administration, because they sent that message, because Secretary Mayorkas says ICE can only arrest an illegal alien if they're convicted of serious crime. What happened? 10.5 million illegal aliens come to the country. What happens with that? What people call illegal immigration. It overwhelmed the Border Patrol, where 70% of agents are off the line. What happened? Record number of women and children were sex trafficked across the border. A record number of fentanyl come across the border, killed 250,000 Americans. A record number of known suspected terrorists, over 400 that we know of, came across the border. In the previous 4 years under Trump, we had 12. Now they got 400. The cartels making a record amount of money, sex trafficking women and children, alien smuggling, and moving dope across the border. That's what happens when you say just innocent illegal immigration. No, we got to secure the border. We got to send a message. It's not okay to enter this country illegally when there's millions of people standing in line. The message we can't send is cross the border illegally, hide out long enough, go have a U.S. citizen child. Now you're immune from the laws? Is that the message we want to send? Because you're never going to solve the crisis. People will keep coming to the country. First thing to do is have a U.S. citizen child. Now they feel they're immune from our laws. That's the message we can't send, or you're never going to end the terrible things that I've experienced 40 years on that border. Now, what I think needs to happen is if people don't like what ICE is doing, then protest Congress. Don't protest ICE. ICE is enforcing laws on the books. They're enforcing laws and doing what they took an oath to do, and that Congress appropriates some funding to do. We're enforcing law. Name another federal law enforcement agency where we ask them not to enforce the law. Do we ask the FBI not to enforce the law? Do we ask DEA, ATF? No, it's ICE. Again, emotional, controversial, but we're enforcing laws enacted by Congress, and that makes this country safe again. It makes that border secure. And when we secure the border, here's what you need to understand. Here's why it's so important to send that message of consequence, because we have the most secure border in the history of this nation right now. Part of that.
Really honestly wish that everything checked. Like I would like fucking statistics, not bullshit statistics that come out of his ass, a reputable fucking source. Like, what are you going to say? How many children are being sex trafficked at the fucking border? The same amount of children are being sex trafficked by naturalized born citizens in America to other countries. Like, who knows? Because there's no fact checking. It's like, hey, okay, what's the percentage? It's just like when Piers Morgan asked Israeli officials how many children has the IDF killed in Palestine. They can't give that answer. I guarantee you. If you ask Tom Harmon, the Soulless Golem, the question of the percentage of girls being sex trafficked by the cartel into the United States, you won't get an accurate fucking description because it's really fucking difficult to tell that. There's no because there's no actual setup to actually grab that statistic because they're underorganized.
It's the consequences that they're seeing every day with 1,000 teams of ICE agents out there every day. We're showing there's consequence for entering this country league. You are going to go home. And when we send that message, less people make that journey, which means less women get raped, less children die, less migrants died. Under Joe Biden, we had over 4,000 migrants died making that journey. Historic record. We had a historic record of migrants dying. We had a historic number of Americans dying from fentanyl overdoses. A secure border matters, and a part of that secure border is consequences. You cannot want to be a part of the greatest nation on earth and disrespect our laws in doing it. Not when you got millions of people staying in line doing it the right way.
You had a bit of a run-in with the late Pope, the last Pope Francis. You're a Catholic like me. He was very critical of the immigration policy, and you took him on and pointed out he has a big wall at the Vatican and so on, which is an argument Donald Trump has used before. There is word via some of his relatives that Pope Leo, the first American Pope, also has a lot of misgivings about the execution of some of the immigration policies. What's your message to Pope Leo, given he is an American Pope, about his concerns about this?
Wear my shoes for 40 years. See this thing.
God fucking hell, bro. Here goes a fucking wear my shoes. You don't know what it's like to be me.
Things I've seen. Again, talking to little girls who's
fucking wear the shoes of people who are actually trying to escape violence, escape poverty from the countries they are trying to leave and go into America. Trying to figure out why exactly they're doing this illegally is because they have no other fucking option. They don't have any time to wait. Some people are actually escaping active gang threats and shit like that. Try to be in the shoes of the people that you're actually deporting illegally. Try to be in the shoes of the people who have to look your fucking ICE agents in the fucking face. That's right, they can't because they're looking at masked motherfuckers. Try to be in their shoes for a split second. Like, I don't need to fit and see in the fucking shoes of a privileged white man. Like, that's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Live in my shoes.
Lives were destroyed because they were, these animals, just took everything innocent and pure from her. Recover the dead bodies I recovered. Go stand in the back of a tractor trailer with 19 illegal aliens like I did, who suffocated and baked to death, including a 5-year-old little boy who begged his father not to let him die. Wear my shoes for 40 years and tell me we shouldn't have border security. Tell me we shouldn't enforce immigration law. Again, part of interior enforcement is
blah blah blah. No one's actually saying that you shouldn't enforce immigration laws. That's not what you're saying. And that's not even what the Pope is saying. You're talking about the fucking ethics, how you're doing it, the rate, the humanity in it. That's basically what the Pope is talking about. This is why I hate these individuals, because they don't understand they don't understand the English language, right? They don't understand it. They're speaking out of their asses. They sit there and they embarrass themselves on platforms in which people are going to be watching. You get the dodos in the comment sections that won't actually break down the shit that Tom Holland says. Be like, this guy isn't making any fucking sense. You get the actual intellectuals that will listen to this fucking conversation and be like, this dude's a fucking dumbass, fucking soulless golem who probably doesn't even deserve to be in the place that he's in, because if we're going to put him in front of a fucking camera and try to explain what he's doing, why he's doing it, the ethics of it, he can't do it, he shouldn't be the person that you got running your fucking deportation process.
Is sending a message to the world that there's a right way and wrong way to come to this country. That alone saves lives. President Trump has illegal crossings right now down 96%. There's been nonpartisan groups out there that say that 31% of women that make that journey through the cartels admitted to being raped. So if 31% of women admitted to being raped, how many actually got raped?
Don't fall for the fucking shit, bro. He keeps notice that he keeps saying that. He keeps saying, right? Just don't fall for it. It's just the shit that they try to pump into you so that they get you to feel bad. It's a bullshit ass tactic. He doesn't give a fuck. It's just something that he can use to get himself out of explaining shit. Doesn't care.
So what he needs to understand, the Pope, along with everybody else, when President Trump has illegal immigration down 96%, again, how many women aren't being raped? How many children aren't dying? How many pounds of fentanyl is not getting in the country? How many non-suspect terrorists aren't getting in the country? How many gang members aren't getting in the country? We have the right to secure the border and make this America safe again. So I would, I'm again lifelong Catholic. I wish the Pope would spend more time fixing the Catholic Church, which has got a lot of problems. and that's my personal opinion. I'm not talking as a border. I'm talking about Tom Homan Catholic. I wish he'd spend more time on that because he doesn't know what I know about the border. I wish he'd make a border trip with me. Look at some of the videos of the interviews I've done. And I educate yourself. And on illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. People die every day.
What he would, I mean, look, I'm not going to speak for Pope Leo because I haven't even met him, but I guess where Pope Francis, Pope Leo, and others would come from from their faith perspective, that's why it's an interesting question for you because you are a practicing Catholic, is they would say that there's got to be some humanity here, that the United States was built on immigrants, right? It was built on people coming from all corners of the planet, many of them completely destitute, fleeing appalling places to find a new life, a better life in America. And that's what made America what it is. And that lost in all this, you know, I get the deterrent argument, I do, and it's clearly working. It's clearly been very effective. You can see that on the southern border. But does it allow for a glimmer of humanity for the completely innocent woman and child, perhaps, who are genuinely fleeing terrible persecution from wherever they come from, who try to come into the United States? What's your message to them?
Well, here's our facts on that, right? If you want to compare humanitarian levels, the Biden administration was very inhumane because a record number of migrants died making that journey. A record number of Americans died making that journey. Sex trafficking women and children was at a historic high. So how is that humane when a record number of aliens died, record number of Americans died? Meanwhile, what people standing in line doing the right way aren't getting in because they're sitting in the back seat. So let's talk about asylum for a minute. If you go to immigration court data, which I have, and I've done this since 1984, it will show you that based on immigration court data, nearly 90%, 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum at the southern border end up with an order removal. So they can call them asylum seekers all they want. They're asylum cheaters, the 90% of them, and while they clogged the system up, while millions of illegal aliens came to the border, made a false asylum claim, because they're not escaping fear and persecution from their home government because of race, religion, and political affiliation. They're coming here for a better life, and I get that. But that's not asylum.
But what about the 10%?
Wait, well, let me finish now.
Okay.
They make these false asylum claims because the cartels teach them how to make that claim because they know they'll be released into the country, and 90% lose.
Does he have anything to like prove to us that the cartels literally train people to actually do these things, or is he once again talking out of his fucking fat ass? Like, I don't. Like,
Meanwhile, there are thousands upon thousands of people who really are escaping fear and persecution from their homeland. They're sitting in the back seat because you got millions of people making a fraudulent claim that clogs the system up. That's going to put the other people who really are escaping fear and persecution home government in the back seat. So they can call them asylum seekers all they want. The immigration court data clearly shows 9 out of 10 will end up with order removal because they cheated the system.
Do you believe that immigrants who come in legally, do you believe they're a force for good for the United States?
I think President Trump had a great plan during Trump 45 and again now, where we want to base immigration based on merit.
Nah, he's saying, come on. Trump said in his campaign that they're poisoning the blood of Americans. That's why this shit is even as heinous as it is right now. Simply because they're viewed as poison. As a matter of fact, the Trump administration believes that every single immigrant coming across the border is a gang member. Trump waged an invisible war against Venezuela. Why? Because they have gangs. God damn it. That means anybody can wage war against the United States with the amount of gangs that we have here, right? Ku Klux Klan, Republican Party.
Majority of it, right? Who can add to the success of this country and bring in a lot of talent in this country, help this country succeed. However, under Trump 45, he still had room for moms and dads and sons and daughters. So I think, again, the immigration system working? No, the Congress needs to fix the immigration system. There's some improvements can be made. But I think President Trump has it right. Again, with 96% decline in border crossings, he's saving thousands of lives every day. And going back to the Pope, who says he don't like our border wall, but he had a border wall. Let me talk about border wall for a minute. Every place a border barrier's been built, illegal immigration went down, illegal drug flow went down. But you know the most important thing that no one wants to talk about? The border wall saves lives. Women and children can't get across that border wall, which means they're going to a place where there's not a wall. What's waiting on them? The men and women of the Border Patrol who's going to deal with their medical issues right there and save lives. So even the border wall saves lives.
And then what? Do they turn them around and send them back to the place they were running from? Where they're probably running from rapists and these murderers and these really evil politicians that you're saying that.
There's been a number of kickbacks against policies on the immigration front from judges. Overnight, we had a federal appeals court blocking the Trump administration from using wartime powers to deport Venezuelan migrants. 2-1 ruling. The court said there was no finding that mass immigration was an armed, organized force intended to harm the United States. Now, that case was brought by a group of Venezuelan migrants in Texas who were accused of being members of violent gangs. What is your reaction to that ruling?
It was a bad ruling. You didn't get it right. It will win it on appeal. Bottom line is the president invoked the aliens.
No. I want to know if he actually agrees with that. Like, I don't want to hear the bullshit macho shit. I want to know if he actually agrees that with the actual ruling. And if he disagrees with it, why?
Enemies Act, which he can do. It's a law existing on the books that was enacted and signed, created by Congress. It doesn't require war. It also requires a predatory incursion, which if you look at numerous FBI intelligence report and reports from the intelligence community.
Literally this is stating that all Venezuelan migrants are fucking gang members. That's literally what this is saying. It's like, let's be fucking for real. Like, why?
Tren de Agua, TDA, the Venezuelan gang, are deeply embedded within the Venezuelan government. Maduro's a part of that. There are numerous intelligence reports showing that. So thousands of TDA members, thousands came to this country, distributed drugs that killed Americans, committed violent crimes, raped and murdered women. Just in New York City 2 months ago, I stood on stage with Mayor Adams, where we took 27 TDA members off the street through a RICO investigation on money laundering, sex trafficking, human trafficking, and various other crimes. So it isn't a coincidence that tens of thousands of Venezuelan gang members enter this country and committed these violence across all the major cities of this country. We believe, based on intelligence reports and FBI intelligence reports, that this was a predatory incursion meant and implemented by the Maduro regime, and we'll win this in court. I think the facts are clear on this.
The other ruling at the weekend was a judge blocking deportation of Guatemalan children, temporarily blocking an attempt, again by the Trump administration, to deport dozens of unaccompanied Guatemalan children back to their home country. The judge said it was in response to reports that children had been put on planes and were about to be sent to Guatemala. The lawyers had argued they would then be at risk of abuse and persecution. I mean, that's a very different case.
Abuse and persecution by their parents? Because,
No, you sick fuck. Abuse and persecution by the place they're fucking running from. This is... I'm being for real. These are the people you voted for? You voted for a president to put this dick shit in fucking office, or put this dick shit in fucking control of humans? Get the fuck out of here. Are you fucking kidding me? He literally just sat there with a whole diatribe, trying to get people really emotional, talking about how children are being sex trafficked at the border during the Biden administration, they're being raped. I just sat down there with a 9-year-old girl. But when you're talking about undocumented immigrants or undocumented immigrant children, he's like, who are they going to be abused from? They're going to abuse. There's a reason they were. Okay.
You've seen the media, the hit pieces on me. Tom Homan's, was involved with the family separation under Trump 45. Meanwhile, 2,500 families were separated because the adult went to jail. And that happens thousands of times a day to American parents across this country. When they commit a crime, they have a child with them, the child can't go to jail with them if they get separated. It's sad, it's unfortunate. They want to continue to attack us on these 2,500 separations, which happens to American families every day. So they call that family separation. I've heard it 1,000 times. Meanwhile, 500,000 children were smuggled across the country under the Biden administration.
Biden's no longer the president, bro. Can we stop this? Can we stop talking about the fucking former president of the United States? We're, 8 months into this presidency, we're still talking about Biden? I think it's about time people get Biden's dick out there. So just focus on what's going on. Answer the fucking questions that are being given to you. Stop scapegoating. Using fucking Biden as a scapegoat. This is just proof to me that these motherfuckers shouldn't be in the positions that they're in because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. This is exactly why. He's fucking using fucking...
Separated from their families, put in the hands of criminal cartels.
And he's probably not even going to answer the fucking case about the Guatemalan children that Pierce just mentioned. I hope Pierce asks him if he doesn't.
God knows what happened to them during that journey. They released some unvetted sponsors. They lost track of 300,000 of them. Who's saving these children? President Trump is. We already found over 25,000 of these children. Some were safe. Many were safe. But some were in sex trafficking, some in forced labor trafficking. President Trump is finding the children that the Biden administration ignored. So we're trying to keep families together. So we have a group of Guatemalan children that want to go home to their parents who live in Guatemala. The Guatemalan parents want their children to come home. And the people that called us terrible for family separation, now who's separating families? They don't want the children to go home to be reunited with their parents. We made a deal with the Guatemalan government. The parents want them, the children want to go home to mom and dad. And they're saying they're going to put in danger? Well, their parents live in Guatemala. They're obviously not escaping fear and persecution. They're not making a claim. They want to go home to their family. So
how did they get there in the first place, Tom? Like, how did those children get there in the first place? Were the parents there trying to escape something, then was sent back, separating them from their family, and now you want to ship them to the place they were trying to get their family to escape from? Like, I don't know. There's no fucking logic, bro. It's empty up there.
How can it be fear
He's a robot.
dangerous to go home to their mom and dad, for God's sake? It's ridiculous ruling by an activist judge. We will win this on appeal because we are trying to keep families together on this. And it's just ridiculous that any judge or any organization don't want children with their parents.
One of the criticisms of you, Tom Homan, just historically has been that you have been accused of, may not even be an accusation, it might just be just a matter of fact, that you believe that separating children from parents can be a very effective deterrent to others. I mean, do you accept, I mean, is that a criticism you accept? Do you think it's something, is it something you're quite happy to say, yeah, I do believe that?
Well, it's taken out of context. Here's what I said. During the Trump administration, again, here's a guy who spent a career on the border. Children were dying every day. Children being sexually assaulted every day. Women being raped every day. During the Trump administration, we said, look, all the terrible things we see on the border, let's start prosecuting these people for entering the country illegally, which is a crime, and putting their children in danger. What we were trying to do is save lives.
Children from parents can be a very effective deterrent to others. I mean, do you accept, I mean, is that a criticism you accept? Do you think it's something, is it something you're quite happy to say, yeah, I do believe that?
Well, it's taken out of context. Here's what I said. During the Trump administration, again, here's a guy who spent a career on the border. Children were dying every day. Children being sexually assaulted every day. Women being raped every day. During the Trump administration, we said, look, all the terrible things we see on the border, let's start prosecuting these people for entering the country illegally, which is a crime, and putting their children in danger.
So is he saying that the whole tactic is to put their children in danger, or are the parents putting their children in danger? Who's putting their children in danger by separating them from their parents? Like, I'm confused on his wording. Like, is he saying that the whole idea was to prosecute them, to separate their children, and to put them in danger? Or is the parent putting them in danger by getting separated from their children by the government? I'm confused.
What we were trying to do is save lives. We're trying to stop women and children being sexually assaulted by members of the cartel during that journey.
You got to count how many times he said sexually assaulted.
So we implemented zero tolerance policy. The same thing police departments do on zero tolerance for DUI on a holiday weekend, zero tolerance on prostitution during a time period, zero tolerance on gun violence. We said, let's do zero tolerance and start prosecuting people, and maybe less people come and put themselves in harm's way. And guess what? Within 3 weeks, border crossing dropped 25%. Now, unfortunately, a part of that was, again, a child can't go to jail with a parent, so there was some separations. What I said back then is that if we start prosecuting people, maybe they stop coming because no one wants to be separated from the parent. I don't want to be separated from my children. So it's taken out of context. That was the meaning of it. The whole zero tolerance policy was to save lives. And again, for the people that question that, wear my shoes for 40 years and see what I.
He says, wear my shoes. Like, so wear your fat shoes. Like, nobody literally does not want to wear your shoes because you're just inhumane. And just like you, it literally not listen to the rest of the American people who actually agree with deporting in undocumented immigrants who are committing crimes. Hell, who are actually agreeing with the fucking fact that the statistics are down. The people in America are just unsatisfied, and polling states it. You're actually affecting Donald Trump's polling. Is that the way it's being done, the methods it's being done, the fact that you're not even listening or coming up with a way to deal with the people who are already here while you're sitting the border. That's the problem. If the encounters are so low, maybe now you can focus on the people in here. Why not give them a perfect, clear, easier path to citizenship so they can actually become citizens and be here legally, instead of just putting the fear of God in them? The ones who haven't done anything, who are just working in the kitchen, who's been working in the kitchen for the past 10 years, working their ass off, paying taxes, not getting any benefits from it. Why not just let them give them an easier path to citizenship? You're not doing that. Your mass thugs are just fucking running around here, snatching people by the fucking necks and throwing them into cars.
I've seen on that southern border. Illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. There's a whole ugly belly of this stuff that just is tragic, and that's what we're trying to do. Save lives, stop sexual assaults on the border.
You've talked a lot about the fact you've done this a long time and you've seen a lot of terrible things. That must take a toll on you as a human being. You always put up a pretty tough exterior, but I've seen you get quite emotional in several interviews when you talked about particularly children who've been around the same age as your own, who've obviously endured horrific things. On a human level, what's it done to you, the 4 decades of doing this work?
Look, I've seen some things on the border that I still, have nightmares about, and I'm honest with people after, the investigation where I got called to a crime scene, and I'm standing on back of a tractor trailer with 19 people who baked to death, understanding based on all the investigation I've done, how these people suffered, right? They baked to death. And during the investigation, the 5-year-old boy who died, and his father died on top of him, begged his father, "Don't let me die, Daddy. I want to see Mommy again. I want to see my brothers and sisters." It at that moment, changed me. It hardened me because I knew we can stop this. I knew that if we have strong border enforcement and have consequences, less people will put themselves in harm's way. And again, I literally got on my knees and talked to a 9-year-old little girl who was raped multiple times by the cartels. I used to not be able to talk about what busting down, but when you look in that little girl's eyes, especially when you're a father and you raise children, everything innocent and pure, that's been ripped from her. Her life will never be normal. And what she went through, it's so heartbreaking and disgusting on every level. It makes you really drive to have a secure border, because the last 4 years on Joe Biden, and I've said this many times, I mean it. Every day I woke up and I got pissed off because I wondered how many women got raped last night with this open border. How many children got sexually assaulted? How many people died making that journey? How many children drowned in that river? Right? Because I've seen Border Patrol agents give CPR to a 6-month-old baby. I know the story of a family of 3 people from an African nation who crossed the border, and the cartels, they had them in the boat and they threw them out of the boat when the Border Patrol approached. They knew the Border Patrol agents would jump in the river to try to save these 3 so they can get away. And that little girl who was 18 months old, they couldn't save her. She later died on the way to the hospital. And during postmortem, 18-month-old baby, sexually assaulted by members of the cartel. In the postmortem showed that. So when you've seen the things I've seen, yeah, it makes you pissed off, makes you want to have cartels. They had them in the boat and they threw them out of the boat when the Border Patrol approached. They knew the Border Patrol agents would jump in the river to try to save these 3 so they can get away. And that little girl who was 18 months old, they couldn't save her. She later died on the way to the hospital. And during postmortem, 18-month-old baby, sexually assaulted by members.
That's
the cartel
not
in the postmortem show that. So when you've seen
shit has happened, but I'm not trusting this guy. I feel like he's just over his head.
Things I've seen, yeah, it makes you pissed off, makes you want to have a secure border. So for 4 years, I woke up every day knowing that this open border is killing people. So I am honored to work for who I think is one of the greatest presidents in history when it comes to border security and law enforcement and the military. Because 96% less people come, we're saving 1,000 lives every day. So yeah, I get emotional. If any human being that saw the things I saw would get emotional. And I tell you what, after that incident with 19 people that were dead at my feet, including that 5-year-old boy, I did go seek help because I couldn't sleep, and it really affected me. But I think it's because I was a father. I had a 5-year-old son at the time, and and that's just one of many. I can sit here and talk to you for the next 3 hours on the terrible things I've seen, and yeah, it shapes you. I'll never forget about it, and that's why I fight so hard, and that's why I support President Trump fighting so hard. You secure that border, you save lives. When you have a strong interior enforcement mechanism going on, that sends a message people don't make that journey. To the most vulnerable people under Biden administration, when you say you can cross the border legally, we're going to release you in 24 hours. We're going to give you to an NGO. We'll give you a free hotel room. We'll give you 3 meals a day. We'll give you free medical care. And in 90, 120 days, we'll give you work offers. Like, you make that sort of promises to the whole world's going to come. And that's what happened. And so many people died, both Americans and migrants. All the terrible things happened. So people need to remember, illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. So when people think, oh, this guy he's just here illegally, he's trying to support his family. If that's the message you want to continue sending to the rest of the world, more people are going to die, more men are going to get raped. We got to be a nation of laws. There's a right way and wrong way to come to the greatest nation. There's do it the right way. And if people, again, I want to reiterate this. People don't like what ICE is doing. Protest Congress, not ICE. ICE is doing the job they took an oath to enforce. And by doing so, they're saving thousands of lives and making this country safe again, one illegal alien criminal at a time. Again, 70% of everybody ICE arrests is a criminal public safety threat. The arrests are either national security threats or fugitives. So ICE is doing exactly what they're doing. Our prioritization of criminals is higher than the Biden administration. Even though they said they're just going to concentrate on criminals, look how many criminals they arrested and removed public safety threats compared to what President Trump done already.
This attention that you brought on yourself by being so front and center stage on all this this year, I've read that it's attracted a lot of threats against you, potentially endangering your family and so on. How have you dealt with that aspect of it? That you're the front man. There are lots of people who have been cheering you on. I see it every day on social media, and many Americans who love what you're doing, think this is exactly the tough message that has to be communicated, and is demonstrably working on places like the southern border. But there are many other people that hate you for what you're doing, as you know. What impact has that had in terms of your own security, your family, and so on?
I wish that most of the people who hate me knew what I knew. I wish they'd hear this conversation. I hope your followers hear this conversation. They need to understand. There's a reason this needs to be done. And I think I've hit some of those points. You can go on for hours on this, but I think they need to understand what I know. They need to know what the facts of what's going on right now really are rather than what the media is saying. I read a story the other day saying, only 1% of criminals deported by President Trump are murderers. Really? That's a level now? You got to commit murder to be deported from the country? There's nothing in Immigration and Nationality Act says you got to commit yet another crime to be deported. However, there are people that hate me, but I'm not running a popularity contest, and I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to stop saying what I'm saying. I'm going to continue working for this president because I know for a fact. I wake up every day knowing we're saving thousands of lives. I know by every public safety threat, national security threat we're taking off the street makes this country safer. And yeah, there's consequences for me too, right? I have to have a security team now, and I had over 1,000 protesters at my one home. And I don't live with my wife right now. She's not staying in my home right now. She's at someplace else because of threats. But it's I guess the price you got to pay to President Trump's under threats, and ICE agents, God bless them. Attacks against them are over 1,000%. We're at a place where I grew up. My dad was a cop. My grandfather was a cop. I always wanted to be a cop. And the cops were respected, and they were revered as being a good guys, save a lot of lives, and always there, to run toward danger when everybody's running away. We're at a point now with the left where all of a sudden the ones who enforce the law are the bad guys, and they want to have
Don't compare yourself. See, the difference between cops on the streets and ICE agents is that cops aren't pussies. They don't wear masks. ICE agents wear masks. That's the biggest difference. Don't compare yourself to the people in the real life. And I don't feel like the cops are perfect, but ICE agents should never be compared to true cops who put their lives on the line every fucking day. And I know how people feel about the police, but that is a fact. I feel a certain way about the police, but I can't deny that fact. So him trying to compare himself to the fucking boys and girls who don't wear a fucking mask when they do their job, fuck you. This is true.
1,000% increase on attacks on them. But the ones who broke the law, they're the victims now. And it's just ridiculous. I think President Trump, what he's doing right now, is convince American people that the cops are the good guys.
I mean,
and the ones who break the law, there will be consequences.
It's a tough thing, Tom, for you to say that you can't even live with your wife. I mean, that's a pretty startling thing to just come out with. You're a married man who cannot live with his wife because of threats against you.
So I'm with her sometimes. I get out of the beltway sometimes. And look, again, it's unfortunate, but if they think they're going to intimidate me from stop doing what I'm doing, my wife's all in on this. I mean, I took a huge pay cut coming back. She accepted that. She accepted the fact that I'm going back in D.C. when I had 4 years, of doing really good things, working. One of the things I did was work for Fox News, right? Yep. So she accepted the fact because she saw me for 4 years. She understood the toll it's taken on me because of my experience, because of my knowledge, knowing people are dying every day, children are being sexually assaulted every day, no inspected terrorists are crossing the border every day, 2 million unknown gotaways. Where do they come from? And why are they here? And where are they now? And I truly believe the terrorists across the border under Joe Biden, and we don't know where all of them are today. And I think something's brewing, something's going to happen. And I think I put a lot of blame on the Biden administration. So
I mean, if we're going to keep blaming the Biden administration, can we bring them back? Like, can we just swap? Like, if we're going to keep bringing up the Biden administration, 2025, we're 8 months in to this new presidency, the Trump 2.0, still bringing up the Bidens. Can we just swap out so you can actually talk about the actual president? Like, I'm getting so sick and tired of hearing this fucking shit. Like.
She saw my frustration. She knows my love of country. She knows of my experience in this issue that I needed to get back to put my mind at ease with President Trump to fix the problem. But you got to remember, Joe Biden's the first president in the history of this nation who unsecured a border on purpose. It wasn't mismanagement. It wasn't incompetence. They knew exactly what they were doing. Every president I worked for 6 months around Ronald Reagan. Even Clinton and Obama took steps to secure the border because they understood you can't have strong national security if you don't have strong border security. President, no one did it better than President Trump. Unprecedented success, Trump 45, right? Record, right now, we had most secure border in the nation's history. Now we even beat that number now with the data. Joe Biden's the first president in the history of the nation who came in office and unsecured a border. And again, that affected me personally because of things I knew were happening every day. So yeah, when he called me, I didn't hesitate to come back because I knew we could save lives. And
where's he getting that information from? Like, President Biden unsecured the fucking borders. Like, where is that information coming from? I really wish that Piers Morgan had like one of these things, like how Jubilee does it. But I guess you can't because it's recorded. I think this is not. It's just live, not live, but like at the point in time they probably couldn't do it. But I wish they did have fact checking process. But then again, it's Piers Morgan. I wouldn't trust him anyways. So.
We can make this country safe again.
Final question, Tom. President Trump's coming to the UK in 3 weeks for his second state visit, almost unprecedented second state visit. The UK has a lot of its own immigration problems, not least this issue of all these small boats coming over from France onto the southern border and 50, 60,000 people coming in illegally. And it's causing a lot of unrest and anger amongst British people. Successive governments on all political sides have failed to deal with this problem. If you were trying to deal with that problem, specific problem of people coming over from the French coast on small boats to the British coast illegally, how would you stop it?
The biggest game changer for us was ending catch and release. They want to enter UK illegally, detain them, vet them, find out exactly who these people are. And, because you're going to find out some of these people are either public safety threats, not all of them, some are again looking for a better life, but end catch and release and just stop the invasion, because I guarantee you a certain percentage of these people coming into the UK are public safety threats and national security threats. UK's national security is under attack right now because you got that many people come to the country unvetted. It's only a matter of time. So I hope they take a page out of President Trump's playbook and enforce their immigration law and don't release people in the country, especially if you don't know who they are. You don't have time to vet them. I mean, during Biden, Border Patrol agents didn't have time to go through pocket trash to gather intelligence. They weren't properly vetted through criminal databases. Here's what UK needs to understand that we quickly understood. You can try to vet people and run criminal history files for a dangerous person, but most countries in this world don't have an NCIC like we do, or like UK criminal system. A lot of these countries, we don't know what their criminal history is because they don't have systems like that in place. And a lot of terrorists in this world, you can't find in any database, because unless they're a part of a Title III terrorist investigation, where they're calling some sort of wire transit, or unless they're encountered on a battlefield and DOD did a retina scan or something, most terrorists in this world aren't in any database. So that's why it's important to have a secure border. So I take a page out of the Trump handbook and make their country secure again, because it's only a matter of time before something terrible is going to happen because they have lax immigration standards.
Tom Homan, thank you very much indeed for giving me so much time on Uncensored. Great to have you on. I hope you come back again. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, everybody knows how much I enjoy my tea. I'm very happy to say that today's show is sponsored by Peaks Pure Fermented Teas. These are not your average brews. They're sourced from 250-year-old wild trees in the Himalayan foothills.
Me personally, I just don't like misinformation. I don't. So, like, for one, to quickly before he comes back, Tom Homan's claim of like fentanyl being pushed by the cartel. Now, if you actually look at statistics, there are Americans. The Americans are bringing in fentanyl from across the borders because they're the ones that consume it. So they go and get it, I guess, for cheap or whatever the fuck reasons. That you want to get it. This whole Biden, they consistently talk about Biden, but they never give fucking context. The end of Title 42 is the main reason. The end of Title 42 is the main reason shit went bad or shit went south. We also got to also add into the fact that there was a fucking pandemic, a COVID pandemic, which led to the fucking surge. So like for me, it's just like, can we just, if we're gonna have these talks, if you're gonna have these opinions, can we please just add a little bit more context and ask a lot more questions, please? Because like it just, for me, having somebody with an opposing opinion or watching people like Tom Homan is a good thing, so we can get into the minds of these fucking maniacs. But at the same time, I would like an honest interview. I don't think we're ever gonna get that with these motherfuckers. So like it for me, it's just like it's not pointless to have these talks or these conversations, but it can be frustrating to watch consistently when you know deep down that they're fucking or that they really don't fucking give a damn. Do I believe stories that Tom Homan's saying about people being baked in a fucking container? I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. But his fucking crying and whining does not fucking, scapegoat him or make people feel bad about what he's going through.
To both of you, back to the show. Ronaldo, let me start with you. I've never spoken to Tom Homan. I think he's a very impressive advocate for what he does. It's not making him universally popular. It is with a lot of people, but a lot of people don't like some of the stuff he's been doing. But what did you make of his arguments?
Well, let me get first to the character of the man. I have no problem with Tom Homan's patriotism. I believe that he is sincere in his goals, and he is working, he thinks, in his own mind for his country. The question I have to start, though, here is if what he is doing is so noble, if what he is doing is so necessary for the fate of our republic, the United States, then why do his ICE agents wear masks? Sheriffs don't wear masks.
You know what? Thank you, fucking Geraldo. He's opened the vault and we finally see what's in it. Some fucking balls. Thank you.
Troopers don't wear masks. FBI don't wear masks. Court officers, no one in law enforcement. Cops certainly do not wear masks. If he is so doing God's work, doing the right thing, the righteous thing, then why do they skunk around, anonymous, grabbing people on the street? And I applaud what they did on the border. I support the border.
Is it graping?
You can't.
This guy is he on TikTok?
Have a nation without secure borders, as the UK is now suffering through this reality. but to deny that what he's doing is deeply unpopular and based on statistics that are fanciful. They're absolutely created out of whole cloth. And I can cite you the sources that prove that these statistics on who exactly ICE is rounding up right now within the bounds of the United States are not the criminals that they promised they would be rounding up. They're not the worst of the worst. Here, I'll give you quickly. The Center for Immigration Studies at Cato, 65% of the people processed into detention have no criminal records. Syracuse University Transactional Records Clearinghouse, 70.3% have no criminal records. A big investigation by CNN in June of 2025, less than 10% have convictions for serious offenses. He's exactly flipping the reality. They're arresting farmers and babysitters.
Geraldo has not come to play. I think I said that.
And lawnmowers and dishwashers and poultry processors and meat packers. And they are all Latinos. They are racially profiling Latinos where Spanish-speaking people of brown skin are afraid to walk around for fear of a masked ICE agent stopping them and demanding their papers, please. It is outrageous. Once they make it inside the United States and have been here for decades, God-fearing, law-abiding, family people, for God's sakes, give them some compassion. Give them some American spirit. I am appalled by the aggression that they are showing and the indiscriminate nature, and that's why these court cases are all going against Tom. God bless him for his patriotism, Piers.
Wow. Okay. Benny Johnson, your response to that.
Wow. Okay. Let me just paraphrase you, Piers. First off, Geraldo, I appreciate you not maligning the man's character and simply saying that he's a patriot who wants to follow the law and wants to make his nation safe. I think we can all agree on that. That is clearly the single most important thing. If you are a patriot in this nation, that your family can walk down the street safely, that you can send your daughter to nursing school, that she won't be bludgeoned by a rock by a Venezuelan gang member who's trying to kill her.
Here we go.
And succeeds in murdering your daughter named Laken Riley with a rock after he tries to assault her after that same Venezuelan Tren de Aragua member was locked up and released again and again.
Crazy. I wonder if he's going to ask you, so is he expecting every single Venezuelan migrant to do the same fucking thing to every woman in the United States? Is he ever going to read off the fucking statistics of that same type of shit happening to women in the United States by naturally born citizens? Actually, the majority of which is done by the offender is normally people that look just like Johnson here. I'm just saying. No, probably not.
And again, by district attorneys from Manhattan to Atlanta. Now, what you would call that is terrorism. That is a organized gang member who's operating via a narco state, Venezuela, in order to terrorize our nation and succeed in murdering.
Wait, so are you saying that the Venezuelan government put a hit out on Laken Riley? Is that what I'm hearing? Come on. Why today?
A young American nursing student, Laken Riley. He's part of a greater overall terrorist network that President Trump just yeeted one of their boats in the Caribbean. We all saw that clip. My question is, why is it wrong for ICE agents who are deporting and arresting terrorists in our nation, organized terrorist gangs, to wear masks, yet special forces, when they're fighting ISIS or Al-Qaeda, wear masks? Why is it impermissible for ICE to not wear masks? They
overseas? Are you fucking dumb?
Wear them for the same reasons. They're fighting dangerous, well-funded narco state terrorists who would murder them and target their family.
They're wearing the fucking shit because of the fucking terrain. They're fucking fighting with bullets and shit like that. Just gonna be blowing in their fucking face. Like, where does he get his fucking information from? Does he watch Transformers and think this is how everybody should act? This is how all the military personnel should act? Like, what the fuck?
And children, if they could.
Bullshit. Just bullshit.
This is why.
Exactly. It's just fucking bullshit. This is the type of influencer that I fucking hate. This is why I get so angry at people when they with this fucking chorus shit, when they be like, oh my God, you're taking dark money. We have to stop the Democrats from blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, fucking cucks like this individual, I think it's Benny Johnson and shit like that, this guy's allowed to fucking go anywhere he fucking pleases, say anything he fucking wants. But when we try to fucking say something, there's always some fucking idiot that wants to come around the corner and say, you're doing it wrong. Nobody on the right is doing that shit. Thank you, fucking thing. I don't even know if Geraldo's a fucking Democrat, but he has balls.
My wife anymore. Tom Homan just said, I don't have the security to live with my wife anymore.
You've just compared this job United States soldiers fighting ISIS in places like Afghanistan with these officers on the street in Chicago.
Exactly. It's fucking bullshit. Can we kick him off the show?
Benny, give me a fucking break. This is I have no patience for it. I believe that Tom Homan believes everything that he says. I don't doubt his sincerity. When I come to the media that pretends to objectivity, I have a much harder view in this, my 55th anniversary week. I started in broadcast journalism 55 years ago this week. I've seen the truth tellers and I've seen the bullshitters. I agree that they have done a superb job on the southern border. I am absolutely dismayed by the attempts to sow terror in the homes of Latino people. For instance, Puerto Rican people. Puerto Rican people look just like Dominican people, just like Cuban people, just like more or less Venezuelan people. And yet Puerto Rican people are citizens. Puerto Rican people are being harassed by ICE. They're citizens, but they are also Latinos. There is a racial component. There's a racial component.
Puerto Rican people have American passports, Geraldo. What are you talking about?
And so now they carry their. So now Puerto Rican people have to carry their American passports to show you that they belong here. Do you carry your American passport, Benny? Do you?
I carry an ID everywhere I go. Yes, and a firearm. But like, is your contention that America is deporting Puerto Ricans back to America?
My contention, wise ass.
Can you give me like an example of that, for instance? Because I can give you examples, Geraldo, of white,
my contention, wise ass, is
Chinese, black, and Hispanic people that are all here illegally. And here's my question for you, Geraldo. My question for you is this. What do you mean by they're not criminal aliens? Are you saying that they came here legally or illegally? Which is the answer?
only crime the vast majority of these people have committed is coming here illegally. That's the only crime.
That makes
they're
them
not Tren
criminal.
de Agua. They're not MS-13. The vast majority of them. They commit fewer crimes than citizens do.
So do you understand respectfully, do you understand the definition of the word illegal? Because you just said they came here illegally. Do you understand what that means?
He's gonna say things like, "Oh, well, they come here illegally. That makes them criminals." Fucking shit. When you commit a crime, you commit a fucking a crime, and it is a crime or it is illegal to come to American states or come to America the wrong way or illegal. Therefore, you have committed an illegal act. Therefore, you will definitely be a fucking criminal. Once again, you're going to overlook the actual fucking. Why does this?
That means they broke our laws, the laws on the books.
So did the jaywalkers. So did the jaywalkers.
Exactly.
So
but I don't understand. You just admitted their crimes. The vast majority of their crimes are they're here illegally. But by saying that, you're saying
in my day they weren't. First of all, to categorize what they are doing as a crime insults real criminals. They are people who are getting along.
Borders?
Their reason. I've said, and I've made it very clear that I believe in secure borders. The UK needs it. The United States needs it. To be a country, you need a secure border. Biden, I agree with Tom Homan, did a terrible job. Compassion is an awful thing if you want to control your border. When you say, come on, needy migrants, you can come to the promised land, that
never happened. That never fucking happened. Okay.
Will come. And I think that's the naivete of Harris and Biden, and that's why the regime was such a failure in this regard. Going forward, if they are going to maintain this militant status in terms of immigration, they're going to
take a note that Benny Johnson just compared the ICE agents to military personnel fighting like ISIS, and I'm just basically stating what Geraldo's already said because I just find it fucking
wreak havoc in neighborhoods, in cities throughout the country, on farms, on agricultural processing plants, restaurants. There's going to be, and is already, a reign of terror that Tom Homan has and is creating.
Okay, let me. I haven't jumped in because it's been such a fascinating debate so far. But Benny, here's where I took issue with Tom. I do think he cares passionately about this issue. I thought he articulated the reasons for that very well. He's obviously seen stuff that is horrific over many, many years. Everyone, I think, can agree. Geraldo, you, me, Tom Homan. Most Americans I've talked to can agree that what's happened on the southern border is little short of miraculous. To bring the numbers coming over that border down this fast to that low quantity is extraordinary. Big tick. Most Americans, like I said to Tom Homan, who I've spoken to, have no problem with undocumented people in America who then commit other crimes ahead of their illegal immigration status, separate to that, of those people being deported. No one has a problem with that. The problem area is the generic story I articulated to Tom Homan, of which there'll be many examples of the kind that Geraldo touched on, where you have someone who's come in illegally, then built a life for themselves in the United States, contributed to society, got a job, paid taxes, had children who have been born in America, and is genuinely leading a better life for themselves, but contributing in a beneficial, positive way to the United States. Most polling I've seen shows that the majority of Americans, 2/3 or so, have a real problem with those people being rounded up and deported. And Tom Homan made it clear to me he thinks there are 20 million people in the United States illegally, and his aim is to deport all of them. Do you have any number of that 20 million who, for whatever reason, you think should be exempt from being thrown out? Or are you as hardline as Tom Homan? They've all got to go.
So that's asking me to be judge and jury in a crime, and that's already happened. So the American public has already voted for our representatives to pass
fucking answer the question. Like
immigration laws. Starting back 100 years ago, it was illegal to cross our border, and those laws have been actually reinforced and doubled up on. And so that's asking me to say that it's okay to break the law, and I won't do that, Piers.
The question was, Benny Johnson, are you going to be like Tom Homan and say, get them all the fuck out of here? That was the question. People never
business owners. So let's take an example. You say that this is a well-meaning, productive member of society who's here, who's a criminal alien, and it's just a victimless crime, right? They're here. As a business owner, if I commit tax fraud against the federal government, should I get passed because I'm a good guy and I'm just benefiting myself and I'm a dad, I'm a family?
You're breaking the law. There's a law.
Shouldn't I be able to commit some tax fraud because, like, I want to provide for my family? Like, aren't I doing other things? You see how slippery of a slope that is?
No, that's not even close to being the same thing. What? You're knowingly committing. If you're committing fraud, there's no. If you're doing so, you're not doing so in order to. You're doing so in order to build something for yourself. You're not doing it to, like, in an instance the same way that undocumented immigrants are trying to cross the borders. You can't compare the same. His comparisons suck ass.
Do you understand like that? If I then am able to make that argument,
Well,
then
I just wonder.
hundreds of thousands of other business owners,
Here's my
including yourself,
response.
will be
Here's
able
my
to say, wait a
I
second,
get
it's
the
just a process crime.
I get the point.
He's just, so everyone else will just
I
do
get the
that.
point. Here's my response.
So you can't incentivize
No, I
that. And the
understand,
American
I
public has
understand.
already said crossing our border illegally is a felony.
I
Evading
understand.
law enforcement is a felony. Not turning yourself into the authorities
I
is a
get the
felony.
argument. Let me throw
Evading
one
is a
back to
felony.
you. Let me throw this back to you. So I get that argument, and I do understand the deterrent part of this, and it clearly has been very successful. However, if the Trump administration, through Tom Homan and his team, if they focused on shutting the southern border, which they've done very successfully, and deporting people who committed other crimes, and just stuck to that, I think this would have been a universally popular policy. The unpopular element of this is that a lot of Americans, the majority, Benny, don't agree with you. They don't think that just coming in illegally in itself should be the criteria for mandatory deportation. All the polling shows that. You're in the minority with that view, as is Tom Homan. And it's that that's getting the negative publicity. And I'm just curious from a political perspective why Trump didn't focus on southern border and deporting people who broke other or committed other crimes. Because I think that would have been universally popular. It seems like in this extra move to basically run around grabbing people who might be undocumented, whatever the way.
That's 100%. Even I would have been like, okay, we got it. The border's been secure. He ran on that. The border's not secure. I see it from a year from now, right? Because I also have other things that actually would have played a part in this, but I want to see what happens after midterms to see if this is still the case. But yeah, I would be like, okay, well, the border's contingent. He's getting the worst of the worst of criminals out of the country. Fine, okay, good. But like, I don't think these wacko conservatives aren't actually listening to what people are saying and why people are upset at what's happening. Even Republicans, there's some Republicans, people who voted for Donald Trump say, hey man, not like this. This is not what you said you was going to do.
They've led their lives, and throwing those out, that has crossed the line for the majority of Americans.
Right. So once again, you're asking somebody to wave a magic wand and take a criminal act and a felonious act based on the laws of our country and to say, well, we like you, so we're not going to charge. We
Well,
like
there are
you,
lots
so
of misdemeanors
you're
as well.
okay.
They say there are
But
lots
that
of
seems like a
misdemeanors.
wild-
Well, there are lots of things lots of laws you can break in America that don't lead to anything more than a slap on the wrist and a fine. For example, you could fine people. You could say, look, you're here undocumented, we're going to fine you X $1,000. But we draw the line now, and anybody who comes in now, right, that immediate deportation applies to you. But the immediate deportation rule would only apply to existing people in the country if they commit other crimes. I just think from a political point of view, that's an easier win, isn't it?
From a good faith argument standpoint here, I'm going to admit to you that I'm not a lawyer, nor am I an immigration court judge. And I know that there is due process. And I know that these things are taken under consideration in that due process.
Answer the fucking question.
And yes, I believe there should be fines. And yes, I believe there should be a legal process for reapplying for citizenship to the United States of America. And these kind of things should be weighed. However, when you have a patient that has terminal cancer, you have to you have to take immediate steps in order to stop it. Letting 30 million or 20 million, whatever it is, criminal aliens cross our border, tens of millions of which just happened in the last 4 years, as you've both said, is absolutely abhorrent to simply a civilized and orderly society, which we all wish to live in, then you have to take immediate steps to ensure that that doesn't overtake the patient.
Can I mention something?
Yeah, Geraldo, you respond.
Please. Right. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday now, in the state of Washington, a 23-year-old firefighter was taken off the line and is now currently being detained for deportation. His family brought him here at the age of 4. He came at the age of 4. He had nothing to say, or it wasn't his choice. His family brought him at the age of 4. He's had a productive life in Washington State. He was fighting a current fire, a blaze now in the northwestern part of the country. He was on the fire line. Somehow, ICE gets word that he's here illegally. He gets taken off the fire line, held, detained for deportation, pending deportation. Came at the age of 4. He's 23. He was fighting a fire. I can give you example after example of these human tragedies that are happening because of an interpretation of a mandate that I believe is incorrect. You say, Piers, correctly, that when it comes to the examples like the one I just gave of the firefighter, that 2/3 or more of the American people say, give the kid a break. That's the problem with Tom Homan and his efforts now. He's got to give the kid a break.
Benny, let me just ask you finally, Benny.
To Geraldo's point, very quickly about law enforcement, there was a Maine police officer. There was a police officer in Maine who was also found out to be a criminal alien. And he was in, I believe it was Portland, Maine. You'll have to check me on that. But he was a uniformed police officer. And Geraldo, I just think that is horrible. And I don't want somebody who's a foreign national enforcing my laws.
Is there any allegation?
But Benny, that's the problem everybody's having. Methods of this, and I feel like Benny's just not getting it because he's one of those. He knows that. Wait, wasn't he the one? Wasn't he given like a rough draft of the Epstein files? I can't remember. I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but if that was somebody, he's one of those people that Trump, you know.
Like, any allegation that cop did anything wrong?
No, I'm saying you put
did he
that
rape
scenario on
anybody? Did he
paper.
rob anybody? Did he
Put
kill
that scenario
anybody?
on paper.
Did he do anything other than be a policeman?
A foreign national with a firearm that has the power of life or death over me, an American citizen, is immoral, actually, in this.
I need to. I'm Johnson. I'm more concerned of a rando outside of my house right now is an American citizen holding a weapon in front of me and pointing it at me, or just having some sort of power at me. Over me, as a black man, I would be more concerned with anybody wearing the fucking badge who is a police officer with a position of power, of holding current power over me with a firearm. I'm more concerned about what's going with the people that's already here than I'm worried about some person from outside the country or something.
Well, I'd be more afraid of you with a firearm.
And that includes voting. Like, at what point do you say, wait a second, how many criminal aliens are voting in our election?
Yeah, none.
There seems to be a DOJ indictment every single week of somebody who's an illegal who's voting in our election. You know, at what point do you say, well, here's a foreign national, they'll just run for political office and they'll be able to pass our laws while having allegiance to another country? I mean, I think it's such an insane slippery slope. It's indefensible, actually, if you wish for an orderly American society. You have to have a limiting principle. And the limiting principle is you're here legally to participate in our society.
Okay. You know what? It's a fascinating debate, this. And I actually really enjoyed talking to Tom Homan. Hearing his advocacy for what he's doing was very interesting. I enjoyed your passionate response, Geraldo, and I enjoyed your contribution too, Benny, because it's not easy. These things are complicated. If it was easy, it would have been fixed. But I appreciate you joining me. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
I've always been a massive admirer of Geraldo's mustache.
Oh,
it is the greatest mustache in global
Somebody
broadcasting.
who probably wouldn't be able to look good in one. I mean,
And by the way,
that
Geraldo, you don't look like you're even 55 years old. Never mind
greatest.
actually having that length of time as a broadcaster. So whatever potions you're eating, I want some of them.
all right, thank you.